In this video we're going to talk about texturing and unwrapping UVs, which basically means unwrapping your objects so you can texture them in a professional way. So we've got a cube here, and this is what we're going to end up with. I know this doesn't look anything special at the moment, but I'm using this to explain exactly what is meant by UV unwrapping. And you can see the texture on each side of the cubes. Okay, so let's start a new scene. Reload startup file, and we've got our new scene, we've got our cube there. Let's turn it on to cycles. I think we're more comfortable with that. And let's pull this out here, and we'll change this one. Let's get rid of the toolbars. Let's change this one to the node editor so we can see what it's got attached to it. It's got no material yet. And we're going to change this one to the UV image editor. Okay, this is where we start putting our materials on and deciding where on the object our materials are going to go. Okay, oops, wrong button, there we go. Right, so let's add a material to this quickly so we can see it there. That's what we're used to seeing. And let's pull this back a little bit just for now. Let's zoom into our cube. What I'm going to do first is what's called mark seams. And you have to imagine that you've got one piece of cloth and you're trying to wrap this box up in this piece of cloth. You've got to think how you're going to attach your cloth together. And I'll show you what I mean by going into edit mode, and then you select the edges, and you always use the edges to mark your seams. I'm going to grab some seams or edges here, and I'm going to go round in a methodical way, so I'll end up with these faces selected. Hopefully you can, if I zoom in a little bit further, you might be able to see that a bit easier. But basically I've separated the cube into two. So this face, and this face are joined together, and this face, and this face are joined together. Okay, so what you do is you go up to this tab here, Shadings / UVs. You click on that, and down here you've got Mark Seam. Okay, so when you've got your edges selected, you click Mark Seam, and you will see, let's just press A to deselect everything. You can see that those seams are now shown by these sort of orangey reddy lines. Okay, that's important because you need to do that. You need to unwrap your object, so you need to mark the seams of your object so you can unwrap it properly. Okay, so if I select all now by pressing A and then press the U key, there we go, and press unwrap, you can see it suddenly popped up in here. So you can see my two areas here. So if I click on this button, in fact, this when I click on my UVs, it will show what I'm clicked on over here. So let's click on that button there, and then I can grab the faces here, and it will say that corresponds to this face there, and that one is that face over there. Okay, so when I select these three, they're all together, and now you can start seeing when I apply a texture to this, it will appear in the background here. I'll show you what I mean. So we've got our node editor here, and to add an image texture we go Add, Texture, Image Texture, and let's open a texture. We'll just go and find some sort of brick texture. There we go, brick wall, perfect, and there it is. And if I add this to the colour now, okay, and let's just quickly change this to material, we can see I don't have to put the generate coordinates because that's already done over here by unwrapping my UVs. And what you can do is on the view, oh sorry, not on the view, what am I talking about? On this browse image to be linked, there's the brick wall in there. It knows the brick wall's there because it's being used here. So you can find your brick wall, and there, it's in the background, and it's changed my UVs slightly. Ideally what you use is a square texture. I've got a sort of oblong texture, so that doesn't help, but it's the same thing. So you can see my UVs there, and let's say, right, let's grab that face there. If I grab this now by pressing the G key, normal keys, and move that around, you can see I can choose an area of this image to be shown. Okay, hopefully now you can start to think how you could therefore export these UVs and start painting your own textures on different cubes if you wanted to. So you could take this across to Photoshop, start texturing it in different places, and have different textures on your cube. Okay, so that is texture unwrapping. So remember, mark your seams, unwrap your texture by the U key, and then make sure you've got your node set up and your image texture available. Select your image texture in here, and then you can start moving your UVs around as you wish, and then getting the bit of wall you want. Okay, hope that helps. There'll be more about this in later tutorials.